listening to Cassphere Podcast.
Welcome back to cassphere Podcast, where we talk about AI news, technical knowledge, and everything in life. New episode uploaded every day at 6 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm your host, Olive.
I'm your host, Truffle.
And today
we are diving deep into the latest twist in the saga of Elon Musk and OpenAI. Another lawsuit. You'd think after co-founding the company, things would be a little less contentious, right?
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you? But their relationship has been anything but smooth sailing right from the start.
Yeah.
Remember, OpenAI was founded back in 2015 with this idealistic vision of ensuring AI benefits all of humanity.
Right.
Musk was a key figure in that, not just financially, but also ideologically.
Yeah, he pledged $1 billion in funding back then.
$1 billion.
That's not just dipping your toes in the water, that's diving headfirst into the deep end of the AI pool.
Yeah.
So what happened? When did this partnership start to sour?
Well, the first major crack appeared just 3 years later in 2018 when Musk abruptly resigned from OpenAI's board. The official reason given was potential conflicts of interest with Tesla's AI development, which on the surface makes sense.
Sure, but we both know there's often more to the story than just the official line.
Right.
What's the behind-the-scenes scoop?
Right. Well, whispers from sources close to the situation suggest that Musk's departure wasn't just about avoiding conflicts. Apparently, he'd been pushing for more control over OpenAI's direction and development speed, but his ideas were met with resistance.
So it sounds like there were fundamental disagreements about OpenAI's path forward, even in those early days, almost like a band breaking up because they can't agree on their sound anymore.
It's a good analogy, but instead of musical instruments, we're talking about the future of artificial intelligence. And that's where things get really interesting because OpenAI went through a radical transformation after Musk's exit.
That's right. They transitioned from a nonprofit to a capped profit structure, which opened the doors to some serious investments, most notably from Microsoft. That seems to be a major sticking point for Musk.
It is. He's been very vocal about his disapproval of this shift, claiming it's turned OpenAI into a profit-driven machine controlled by Microsoft, a far cry from the idealistic humanity-first vision it started with.
So this latest lawsuit seems to be less about a specific event and more about this fundamental clash of philosophies. He sees OpenAI as straying from its original mission, becoming too entangled with corporate interests, and potentially jeopardizing the ethical development of AI.
Exactly. And this isn't the first time he's taken legal action against OpenAI. He filed a lawsuit earlier this year, but then things quieted down for a while. This recent escalation, naming Microsoft as a defendant and adding accusations of anti-competitive practices, is a significant development.
It's like things were simmering on the back burner, and now they've boiled over.
Yeah.
But to really understand Musk's motivations, we need to dig a bit deeper into the specifics of his allegations. What exactly does he claim OpenAI and Microsoft are doing wrong?
That's where things get really juicy in this latest lawsuit. Musk alleges that OpenAI and Microsoft are engaging in practices designed to create a monopoly in the generative AI market.
Hold on, a monopoly? That's a pretty serious accusation.
Yeah.
What evidence does he have to back that up?
Well, one of his central arguments revolves around OpenAI's increasing reliance on closed-source technology. He claims that by keeping their code and data secret, they're stifling competition and preventing others from building upon their advancements.
I see his point.
Yeah.
Closed-source technology can create a sort of walled garden where only a select few have access to the tools and knowledge needed to innovate.
And that's a stark contrast to the open-source approach that OpenAI initially championed. Remember, the idea was to democratize AI, to make it accessible to everyone so that its benefits could be shared widely.
It's a fascinating clash of ideologies, isn't it? Openness versus control, collaboration versus competition. And this lawsuit throws those tensions into sharp relief.
It really does. But before we jump to conclusions about Musk's motives, we need to acknowledge that there are multiple perspectives on this whole saga.
You're right. Some critics see his actions as less about protecting the future of AI and more about personal vendettas and business maneuvering.
Exactly. They point to his previous attempts to gain control of OpenAI and argue that his current legal offensive could be a way to weaken a competitor and potentially benefit his own AI company, xAI.
It's like a real-life chess match, but with billion-dollar companies and the future of AI hanging in the balance. Trying to decipher the true motivations behind each move is tricky.
It certainly is, and it's important to remember that we're only seeing a snapshot of a much larger story, one that's still unfolding. But even this glimpse reveals some fascinating insights into the complex interplay between ambition ethics and the evolution of artificial intelligence.
Well said. So to unravel this tangled web further, we need to delve into the specifics of what led to this latest lawsuit. What were the key events and decisions that pushed Musk to take this legal action? Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of Musk's accusations he's alleging. OpenAI and Microsoft are working together to create an AI monopoly. How exactly does he claim they're doing that?
One of Musk's key arguments hinges on OpenAI's shift towards closed-source technology. Essentially, he's saying that by keeping their code and data secret, they're creating an uneven playing field, stifling competition and potentially hindering the overall progress of AI development.
So instead of fostering a collaborative environment where everyone can benefit from and contribute to advancements in AI, it's becoming more like a closed club with OpenAI and Microsoft controlling the keys.
That's the essence of his argument. He believes that this closed-source approach concentrates power in the hands of a few, potentially leading to biased algorithms, limited access to essential tools, and ultimately a less diverse and innovative AI landscape.
It's interesting how this issue of open versus closed-source AI ties directly back to Musk's original vision for OpenAI.
Yeah.
Remember, it's founded on the principle of democratizing AI, making it accessible to all. This latest lawsuit seems to be a direct reaction to what he sees as a betrayal of that core mission.
Precisely. And to understand just how deep this perceived betrayal runs, we need to look at some specific events that have fueled Musk's distrust. One of the most telling examples is the whole ICO incident back in 2018, just months before Musk left OpenAI's board.
Okay, remind me about that. What was the ICO all about?
Well, according to court filings from Musk's legal team, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman proposed launching their own cryptocurrency. Musk vehemently opposed the idea, warning that it would severely damage OpenAI's credibility and distract from its research goals.
I can see why he'd be hesitant. Crypto has always been a bit of a wild card, and back then the ICO craze was at its peak. It wouldn't exactly align with the image of a serious research-focused organization.
Exactly. It seemed like a move driven more by profit motives than by a genuine desire to benefit humanity, and that clash of priorities appears to be at the heart of Musk's current legal battle.
So this ICO incident, even though it didn't happen, seems to have planted the seeds of distrust for Musk. It further cemented his belief that OpenAI was straying from its original mission.
It's a significant piece of the puzzle, and it ties into another major point of contention: OpenAI's transition from a nonprofit to a capped profit company. This move, which paved the way for massive investments from Microsoft, is something Musk views as a turning point the moment OpenAI truly embraced commercial interests.
That's right. He's been very critical of this shift, arguing that it incentivizes OpenAI to prioritize profit over ethical considerations.
Yeah.
But what exactly does capped profit mean in this context? It sounds a bit like an oxymoron.
It does, doesn't it? The idea is to limit how much profit investors can reap from OpenAI's success. But critics, including Musk, argue that even with a cap, the profit motive can distort research priorities and potentially lead to the development of AI that serves corporate interests rather than the broader good.
So instead of focusing on research for the benefit of all humanity, the focus might shift towards projects that have a higher chance of generating revenue for investors, even if those projects raise ethical concerns.
That's the fear, and this is where Microsoft's involvement adds another layer of complexity. Musk sees their multi-billion-dollar investment as a way to exert control over OpenAI, steering it towards projects that align with Microsoft's own strategic goals.
It sounds like Musk believes that OpenAI has become a pawn in Microsoft's larger game, sacrificing its original mission for the sake of profit and corporate dominance.
That's certainly the narrative he's putting forward, and he's not alone in expressing concerns about the influence of big tech on AI development. Many experts warn about the potential dangers of concentrating too much power in the hands of a few large corporations.
It's a valid concern. The development of AI has such profound implications for society that we need to ensure it's not driven solely by profit motives. We need ethical considerations, transparency, and a diversity of voices at the table.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to Musk's accusations of anti-competitive practices. He claims that OpenAI and Microsoft are using their combined resources and influence to stifle competition, making it difficult for other players in the AI field to gain a foothold.
So he's essentially arguing that they're creating a monopoly, limiting innovation, and potentially harming consumers in the long run.
That's the gist of it. He points to OpenAI's increasingly close relationship with Microsoft, their joint ventures, and their control over key technologies as evidence of an attempt to corner the market.
A bold claim, and one that'll undoubtedly be fiercely contested in court. But it raises important questions about how we want the AI landscape to evolve. Do we want a future where a handful of powerful players dictate the rules of the game, or do we want a more open and competitive environment that fosters innovation and benefits everyone?
Those are the fundamental questions at stake here, and the answers will have far-reaching consequences not just for the tech industry, but for society as a whole.
Okay, so we've talked about the ICO incident, the transition to capped profit, the role of Microsoft and Musk's accusations of anti-competitive practices. But there's another piece of this puzzle we need to examine, the alleged merger attempt. What can you tell us about that?
Well, this is where things get even more intriguing. According to Musk's lawyers, back when he was still on OpenAI's board, he proposed merging OpenAI with Tesla. He believed that combining their resources and expertise would accelerate AI development and allow them to achieve their goals more effectively.
That's a pretty big move. What was OpenAI's reaction to this proposal?
According to court documents, both Altman and Brockman, OpenAI's other co-founder, were strongly opposed to the merger. They saw it as a power grab by Musk and feared that it would compromise OpenAI's independence and potentially divert its focus towards Tesla's commercial interests.
So even in those early days, there were already tensions brewing about control direction and the potential for conflicts of interest. It's fascinating how this early power struggle seems to have foreshadowed the current legal battle.
It's like we're seeing the roots of the conflict that's now playing out on a much larger stage. And it adds another layer to Musk's accusations that OpenAI has strayed from its original mission. It's almost like he's saying, you wouldn't let me steer the ship my way, and now look where you've ended up.
It definitely adds fuel to the fire, and it highlights just how personal this feud has become. It's not just about business disagreements anymore. It's about ego betrayal, and maybe even a sense of revenge.
It's a Shakespearean drama unfolding in the world of tech, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The outcome of this legal battle could shape the future of AI research and development, potentially determining whether we end up with an open and collaborative AI ecosystem or one dominated by a few powerful players.
Well said. And that brings us to the next crucial element in this saga. OpenAI's partnership with Microsoft. How exactly did this partnership come about, and what are the implications for OpenAI's mission and the future of AI development?
Microsoft's entry into the OpenAI story is a pivotal moment, one that fundamentally changed the dynamics of the relationship between Musk and OpenAI. Remember, OpenAI transitioned from a nonprofit to a capped profit structure, which opened the door for significant outside investment. Microsoft, seeing the potential of OpenAI's technology, sees the opportunity pouring billions of dollars into the company.
And that investment wasn't just about financial support, was it? Microsoft also gained access to OpenAI's cutting-edge technology, integrating it into their own products and services.
Exactly. This partnership has given Microsoft a significant edge in the rapidly evolving field of AI, allowing them to enhance their cloud computing platform, develop new AI-powered tools, and position themselves as a leader in the next wave of technological innovation.
But this partnership is also at the heart of Musk's concerns about OpenAI straying from its original mission. He views it as a Faustian bargain, where OpenAI has sacrificed its independence and its commitment to open access in exchange for Microsoft's money and influence.
It's a classic dilemma. Idealism versus pragmatism. OpenAI, like any organization, needs resources to function and pursue its goals. But by accepting such a massive investment from a corporate giant like Microsoft, they've opened themselves up to criticism that they've become beholden to corporate interests.
And that tension, that struggle between the pursuit of a noble vision and the realities of operating in a competitive, profit-driven world is what makes this saga so compelling.
It's a microcosm of the larger challenges we face as a society as AI becomes more powerful and pervasive. How do we ensure that this technology is developed and used ethically, responsibly, and for the benefit of all? How do we balance the potential for progress with the need for safeguards? These are questions that will continue to be debated for years to come.
And this whole Musk-OpenAI feud is a stark reminder that these aren't just abstract philosophical questions. They have real-world implications affecting the direction of research, the development of products and services, and ultimately, the kind of AI-powered future we're creating. AI's future isn't set in stone, something we're building with every choice we make. And by being informed, engaged, and thoughtful, we can help shape an AI future that works for everyone.
That's a great point. This has been a super interesting deep dive, and hopefully it's gotten our listeners thinking. As this Musk OpenAI thing keeps going, we'll keep you posted and keep exploring these big issues.
That's it for this episode of Cassphere Podcast. New episodes every day at 6 a.m. Eastern Time.
Thanks for listening, Day